Hello everyone, my name is Riya Shaji Mathew and my roll number is 23 MSW A51 and I am from the first semester MSW batch of Christojanti College Autonomous, Bengaluru. Today I will be presenting on the topic social group work among teachers in special schools. So before we get into the topic, I would first like to introduce to you the topic of social group work. Social group work is one of the primary methods of social work which develops the ability of establishing constructive relationship through activities, through group activities. Because man is a social animal, hence he is dependent and interdependent on each other for his development, progress, and growth. Every man looks forward to be a part of a group, at least one group, but eventually he results in being a part of multiple groups. For example, one such group is family, the second such group is a school or an educational platform, uh, friends, peers, co-workers. So all of these groups man is a part of. Social group work is considered as a systematic way of helping individuals in a group. These individuals have similar concerns or challenges or issues to overcome. The members in this group are generally voluntary. People who join a group work process will join voluntarily, and it is a systematic way of helping these people in a group to solve their problems or to improve their social functioning. According to Trekker HB, in 1963, he had said, social group work is a method of social work through which individuals in a group in social agency settings are helped by a worker who guides their interaction process and program activities so that they may relate themselves to others and experience growth opportunities in accordance with their needs and capacities towards the end of individual, group, and community development. So, when a group of people come together, they depend on each other and they work towards the growth of the entire group. They work towards the growth of each individual, but in doing so they also develop the entire group. Next we look into the introduction of the setting, that is the special schools. So special education refers to the education of children who differ socially, mentally or physically from the typical children, and hence they require a modification of the usual school practices. Special education serves children with emotional, behavior or cognitive impairment. So whatever issues they have, either it's emotional, either it's social or behavioral or cognitive, they'll have some impairments compared to the typical children. Hence, special education deals with such children. Inclusive education aims at including students with disabilities in a mainstream school environment. So, inclusive education deals with children with special abilities or children with disabilities, but it is better termed as children with special abilities. And inclusive education aims at dealing with them in a mainstream school environment. But in a mainstream school environment, there are difficulties faced both by the children and by the teachers, because the children find it difficult to adjust or to adapt well with the environment, and the teachers find it difficult to deal with the children calmly and patiently. And hence the idea of special schools and special educators emerged, and it is very popular among the parents of special children. Advantages of special schools over typical schools for the specially able children. Trained special educators deal with the specially able children according to their capacities and abilities. So, a special educator who is trained will know and understand the capacities and abilities of special children, unlike regular teachers in a typical school, and hence they will handle these children with great care and patience. Another advantage of special schools is that these students will get undivided attention from the teachers, since they are few in number, and also the focus can be made on their physical, mental, and emotional and social development. Also, it depends on the intensity of the disabilities and severity. For example, if the student has mild disabilities or the conditions are mild, they can also learn quite well in the general classes of a typical school. But otherwise, if they are having intense conditions, then severe conditions, then a separate setting will work better for these children. The next topic is importance and roles of special educators. The teachers who are training in special education are helped to understand the special needs of the children, to overcome the prevailing myths and social stigmas related to their disabilities and develop positive attitudes towards them. Hence, special educators have developed a sense of developed sensitivity towards these children, and how they do so is by using terms and language that convey respect for them and treat them as children first rather than people who are disabled, and then they work with them with the belief that they can learn and grow like all the other remaining children, and hence they communicate hope to these children and to their parents as well. This special educators showcase a thorough knowledge about the nature of different disabilities, the developmental characteristics of children with these disabilities. For example, what problems the child with disabilities can face during the for their developmental growth, and all the associated difficulties or disorders that may be present and that require attention in the life of those children. The special educators are equipped with good interpersonal skills. They are good communicators, especially when it comes to communicating with the parents, because the parents or the relatives of the caretakers of the children require great guidance when it comes to taking care of the children, and it is provided by these special educators themselves. The next topic is need for social group work among special educators. Special educators, like it is said, Sarason in 2015 indicated that one of the main purposes of the educational process is to produce responsible, self-sufficient citizens possessing the self-esteem, initiative, skills and wisdom to continue their own individual growth and personal knowledge. This can very well and easily apply to the typical children, but such an idea of education also brings to light initiatives to promote the self-determination of students with disabilities. Hence, they are trying to prepare students with disabilities to be in a self-dependent, to be dependent on themselves rather than on others. There are various difficulties that are faced by special educators in special schools. The most common obstacle lies in the path of these teachers when it comes to the lack of proper training. Many of these teachers are not properly trained because this field in itself is not taken care of seriously. The second issue is the lack of patience and dedication that is specially required when dealing with the children with disabilities. Since there is no proper training provided, there is also no mental and emotional preparation in the teachers, which leads them to them becoming more frustrated. They are not well prepared on how to deal with these children. The next point, lack of resources is another one of the serious issues faced by special educators. These special schools often lack in the resources they require to treat the children well or to provide the best educational facility for the students. Special educators often have a high workload due to the nature of their job, which might lead them to a phase of burnout and a feeling of being overwhelmed. Since they'll always have to be taking care of the children, they'll also have a lot of workload in comparison to the teachers who deal with typical children, and hence there might be a phase where they go through a phase of burnout or overwhelming. Parents of special children can also be difficult to deal with sometimes. Either there are parents who do not care about the children at all, or there are parents who just take care of the children so much, and in doing so both these kind of parents uh, fail to cooperate with the teachers. They have to take special care of the children as they can be aggressive at times, either harming themselves or others. These special students are capable of harming themselves or others, and in doing so they can also harm the teachers as well, but the teachers need to be very calm and patient and deal with them very carefully. Practice of social group work among special educators. So this is how the social group work trainee dealt with the target group, that is of special educators. The entire process was carried in the different phases of intake, study and diagnosis and analysis, treatment, then evaluation, then termination and then follow up, and a total of 10 sessions were carried out for this process. The session 1 was wherein the trainee identified the target group and formed the target group based on the principle of planned group formation, wherein a total of 10 individuals were chosen from this organization of special school, and they were given the option of joining in, and all of these members had joined voluntarily. So hence, since they joined voluntarily, the trainee didn't have a problem in building rapport with them, and also the trainee assured them that this process is entirely for their well-being and welfare. After some discussions, the trainee selected a leader from among them and not elected, didn't let the people elect them. The trainee herself elected the leader. The second session was a phase 2 of study and analysis and diagnosis. The trainee interviewed each individual and studied the family background, economic background, the interests and likes of each individual. The trainee observed their reactions and body postures while they were sharing their information. The trainee had deeper conversations with the clientele about their perspective related to their work. Whatever they thought of their work and they thought of their roles, the clientele group, each individual shared those points. Then in the third session of phase 2, the group work trainee had discussions with the entire group regarding his observations from the previous session. So whatever was shared in the previous session, the trainee opened the platform for all the teachers to discuss on it and list out the common problems faced by all of them. The next session, the fourth session of phase 2, the trainee guided the group to prioritize the problems based on their effect. So whatever problem was on the topmost of the list, that became the objective of the group work, and the topmost problem was the emotional phase of burnout and the feeling of being overwhelmed and how they can manage this stress. The trainee used the principle of specific objectives or goals and the principle of democratic group self-determination. The phase third, session 5 of this process, the trainee used the developmental model of social group work to go ahead with the treatment. For this, the trainee invited a resource person working at a center of mental health and neurosciences to speak to these special educators about how they can handle their stress and how they can conduct different activities through which they can attract the attention of these children. Then in the session 6 of the phase 3 of treatment, the trainee demonstrated different classroom methods that can be used by these special educators based on what the resource person spoke in the previous session. The trainee used the recreational model to help them feel more comfortable with the group work process, and also explained this as an example of how they can relax when they get stressed. With the other teachers, since they belong to the same organization, they can get together and conduct recreational activities for themselves to relax. Then in the session 7 of phase 3 of treatment, the trainee conducted an orientation session for the parents as well, since cooperation from the parents was the second most top problem. Hence, the trainee spoke to them about the objective of this group work, why it was being conducted, and how these special educators are working hard to bring the best out of the children, and hence they need their full support, the full support of their parents. The parents seem to agree to work well together with these teachers. Then in the phase 4, that is the evaluation of the group work, that is session 8, the social group work trainee carried out the process of the evaluation of the group work based on 6 parameters, that is evaluation of each individual, how each individual responded to the entire group work process, then evaluation of the entire group, of how the group was responding to the trainee on how they can carry out their activities, then evaluation after every session, how the group work was going on, the effects that they were producing. Then after the entire group work, whether the entire group work was successful, whether it was helpful for the clientele group, etc. And the last two evaluation process, that is personal evaluation and professional evaluation, was related to the trainee, wherein she evaluated herself on what she learnt and how she can improve her skills or develop her skills. Then in the phase 5 of termination, that is session 9, the trainee had already prepared the clientele for the step of termination. From the beginning of the process itself, the trainee prepared the clientele group that they will come to this point of termination. Hence, when the termination was announced, all the group members were only being grateful to the trainee for considering them as the target group and coming and helping them with their problems. Then phase 6, that is session 10 of follow-up. A clientele group, before the termination could be carried out, the clientele group requested the trainee for follow-up meetings to be conducted in the future, since the orientation and the therapeutic nature of the process helped them a lot. The principles that were applied in this entire group work process were these 5 principles. Principle of planned group formation during the intake process, when each individual was given the opportunity to join voluntarily. Hence the group was formed by great planning by the trainee also, when she identified the target group. Principle of specific objectives and goals, when they formulated those specific objectives and came upon the goal of the entire group work meeting in the study, analysis and diagnosis phase. Then principle of democratic group self-determination, wherein the clients were given with the opportunity to come up with their own objectives. The trainee was only acting as a guide and helping them to list out the problems, but they discussed themselves and came up with the topmost objective for the group work. Principle of purposeful worker group relationship, the trainee maintained a very professional relationship with the clients by reminding them that the trainee was there only to help them to help themselves to come out of their problems and be strong enough to give their best to the society. Then the principle of guided group interaction, as mentioned before, the trainee was acting as a guide among these clientele group, and she was the one who guided the interaction processes. Expected outcomes, the group had unanimously decided on the objective of the group to be the emotional phase of burnout, the feeling of being overwhelmed and how they can manage the stress. And throughout this group work process, the trainee was able to impart the various methods and ways in which they could deal with the special needs children, and the different ways in which they could also lessen their emotional burdens. And and according to the feedback received by the trainee, the clientele group was very satisfied with the work of the trainee. The trainee had aimed at reshaping their thoughts and perspectives about their job, and through this group work process, the trainee could successfully address that topic. The next is the conclusion of this entire process. Social group work among special educators is a very helpful intervention, as it brings the like-minded individuals working in the same setting or in the same profession who are going through the same struggles to come together to resolve their problems and envision their role from a different perspective with the help of the social group worker. Even though the special educators the trainee were dealing with were trained, working among special needs might get exhausting for them, and hence it requires extra patience and to deal with these teachers, because they need to be reminded that they are working for the betterment of the society, and that their job is very honorable, and that they are contributing very greatly to the society by helping these children. Hence, the group work aims to enhance their roles by giving them a purposeful group experience. Very truly, according to the definitions given by Trekker, HB, and the other philosophers of social group work. Hence, I would like to thank the head of the department and the other faculty members, especially Dr. Jonas Richard Sir, for giving me this opportunity to speak on this topic and to present on this topic. I hope this entire presentation was helpful to you all. Thank you.